Now the topic before us is primary key, foreign key and composite key. Suppose there is an organization in which say 100 employees are working. There may be many employees which may be having the same name. Suppose we take the example of this organization where many employees are working. Say here two employees are working with the same name, John. When you want to identify or want to call one particular employee, say John, whether you will say John who is having salary of $25,000 or you will say Carl John who is having salary of $26,000. No, you will not say so. So here to recognize or to pinpoint or to uniquely identify a one particular employee, we allot employee ID to each employee so that we can uniquely identify a particular employee. So here in this case, we may say allot employee ID 204. So here when we are to uniquely identify a particular employee, we may say employee ID 203 Ramesh. That is 203 will be sufficient employee ID to recognize a particular employee. So let us read. A primary key is a unique value that identifies a row or a record in a table or database. Here, this is the primary key which is identifying a particular record pertaining to one particular employee. In the same way, if we are talking about customers, then customer ID will serve the purpose of primary key and we will be able to recognize all the attributes pertaining to one particular customer. What is his name, what is his address or contact number. Every single record in the database, this is the single record, this is the single record, this is another single record. Every single record in the database has something to uniquely identify it, and if this is called primary key. Here in this complete row, this particular thing is unique, this is unique. On the basis of that we can recognize, because many employees may be having salary of say 25,000, some may be having similar salary of 40,000. So these are not unique values. Names may be also similar, salary may be similar. So here in this case, employee ID serves the purpose of primary key. One column in each table acts as primary key. Relational databases use primary keys to establish relationships and connect records between different tables. For example, employee ID is the primary key of the employee table. When you got admission in a school, you were given a student ID, that is primary key. When a patient gets admission in a hospital, he is given a patient number, that is primary key. This means that any treatment which is given to the particular patient is recorded accordingly in his record and he is given the right medicines. A primary key cannot allow null values. What is the meaning of null values? Null values means the value is missing or unknown. If the null values are allowed, that is, if we leave this student ID blank or we do not know it and we write it, will fill further items, further things are entered, whether we will be able to fetch the record on the basis of this name Tina, because there may be many students with the same name which may be studying in this school. So the primary key cannot be null. It cannot allow null values. We have to allow some particular id, that is the in the case of primary key we have to mention some relevant values, unique values. If null values are allowed, multiple records could potentially have the same null value in the primary key column. That is, if it is allowed that in the case of student id null values are allowed, or in the case of primary key, that is student key, null values are allowed, then many students may be given the null values. That is, they may not be given any number, and the admissions will be made, and it will become very difficult to recognize a particular student at a later stage. Primary key can consist of both numbers and text. It is not that when we are talking about the customers or employees, we may say that this is the customer ID or this is the student ID, that numbers alone. It may be possible that primary key can consist of both numbers and text. That is, we can say that customer is C12345 or employee ID is D53241. In the same way, in the case of book ID, the book ID may start with this B and then with numbers, then A, and then numbers 10234. Each value in the book ID is unique, which is a requirement of a primary key. That is, two books will not have the same ID. Each book will have its own specific value, book ID, which is separate or unique from other books which are on the available on the online store. Next is composite key. When primary key is made up of two or more columns, then it is called composite primary key or compound key. Composite keys are used when a single column cannot uniquely identify a record on its own, but a combination of columns can. How? Because there may be instances that in a particular organization, a particular student may be studying different courses. Suppose a educational institution is offering different types of courses, and there is no restriction that a particular student can join only single course. A single student can enroll himself or herself in many number of courses. So in that case, student ID plus course ID together will serve the purpose of composite primary key or composite key, so that the unique, so that the particular student is uniquely identified. The table represents the enrollment of students in courses. A combination of student ID and course ID could be a composite key, since a student can be enrolled in a multiple courses and different students can be enrolled in the same course. Foreign key. When a primary key from the first table, this is the first table, that is the student table, is used in the second table to locate or look up records from the first table, it is called foreign key. Now here you can see that this is the in the course table, this is the primary key C001. Now when this course ID is appearing in another table, that is the student table, it is acting as course ID. That is, this student is enrolled in this course, here only course ID is given, and this course ID represents the type of course in some another table, that is the course table. The foreign key in one table points to a primary key in another table. Here it is the foreign key, course ID. It is having its relation with another table, course table, where it is appearing as course ID, creating a connection between two tables. So here the established between two tables has been established by way of primary key and foreign key. In the one course, this same thing is appearing as foreign key. In another table, it is appearing as primary key. Course ID column, course of the student table, works as a foreign key as well as a primary key for the course table. You can see that course ID is working as primary key in one table, and in another table it is appearing as foreign key, and the relationship between the two tables, that is the course table and student table, is established by way of this primary key and foreign key. A table may have multiple foreign keys, and each foreign key can have a different reference table. Let us see how it happens. Consider an online store. Here order contains multiple foreign keys. Here you can see that orders are being placed one by one, and each order is assigned one number. Suppose say order number 1, order number 2, order number 3. Here the one by on the basis of the orders, customer IDs are also being recorded online by the system. On accordingly, which product they are purchasing, product ID is added, order date is added. So here you can see that customer and products, here these are the customers, these are the products. Here in the case of customer ID in the foreign table, a order table, you can see that in the orders table, customer ID, order ID is the primary key. This is the primary key in case of orders table, whereas customer ID is the foreign key. It is appearing as primary key in another table, in the customers table. Product key, which is also a foreign key in the orders table, is appearing as primary key in the products table. So you can see that this is the orders table which is having two foreign keys, customer ID and product ID, which pertain to some another table, that is the customer table and product table respectively, where the customer ID and product ID are appearing as foreign key, and it shows which customer has placed the order and the order has been placed for which product, and this type of relationship is established by foreign key. Here is an example where a primary key from one table is used in another two tables as foreign key. Student ID, you can see here that these are the student IDs in case of student tables. Now you can see that student ID from students table is used as foreign key in both enrollments and grade tables. These are two another tables. You can see that enrollment table and grade table. Now you can see that student ID is also appearing in enrollment table. Student ID is also appearing in grades table. Course ID is also appearing in enrollment table, and here it is also. So you can see that student ID, this is the foreign key in, this is the primary key in students table. It is appearing as foreign key in enrollment table and also as a foreign key in grades table. This is the foreign key. In the same way, course ID, this is the course ID from the course table, is appearing as foreign key. This is the course ID. it is appearing in this table as well as in this course. Here it is the primary key and it is appearing as foreign key in this table and also in this table, two tables, another tables, it is appearing as foreign key. So the primary key is one and it is appearing in different tables as foreign key. Primary key one, two other tables foreign key. The table containing foreign key is always the child table and the table that provides the primary key is always the parent table. That is where the primary key is present, it is known as parent table, and where the foreign key is there, it is known as child table. So this can be memorized as one parent pk, many child fk. Thanks for watching. If you like our course, please spare some time to give a star rating to our course.